Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is the first Tuesday of the month, and for those of you who've been coming to the channel on a regular basis, you know what that means. It is RPG Elite Philosophy time. We're going to be covering quality number 4. And folks, for this one right here for me is at the top of the pile. Extremely important. So, let's do this. Welcome to RPG Elite, where we put the RP back into RPG. We give you tools and tips and tutorials and all those things that are necessary for you to have a more immersive and enjoyable experience in your RPG sessions. Thank you for coming by, and welcome to all of you guys who are coming by for the first time. Today, we're doing RPG Elite Philosophy. And this, for some odd reason, tends to be one that people like to come through and at least put their ear in a little bit and listen in on what's going on. I feel you. But before we get into that, I want to turn your attention over to the community tab, because we've got a new image over there. Now, for those of you who are not hip, what I do over at the community tab here on my channel is that I may post an image from an RPG, a classic tabletop RPG, by the way, or I may post a poll that I want you to be a part of. And this week, it's another image. Now, I had said in the last video that I was not going to just do cover images, but I'm also going to now include images on the inside of tabletop RPG games and publication references and or supplements or whatever, because you guys have kind of been knocking this out of the park rather easily. So we're going to see how good you are at your classic tabletop RPGs. So I got another image over there right now from inside of a tabletop RPG. The name of the game is this. You name the game and you name the publication. You get kudos for naming the page number that it's on as well. So going over to the community tab, if you don't know how to get there, no worries. Link down in the description below. Know what I mean? And then you can come on back here, or you can just wait and then go over there afterwards. Well, today we're talking about quality number 4 of an RPG Elite. Now, those of you who are new here probably don't know a whole lot. There's a whole series of videos that talk about RPG Elite philosophy. That's in the link in the description below. It's a whole playlist. You can go there, get caught up, come back here, and look at this one. And we're talking about one today that is near and dear to my heart. I'm straight sirs when it comes to this particular quality. The other qualities we've been kind of doing a slow build, but this one here, this strikes at the heart of what it means to be an RPG Elite in my eyes. So let's do this like Brutus, because you always knew this. Roll it. So let's get straight into this. RPG Elite quality number 4. RPG Elite's Roleplay. We believe it's required. This is not an option for an RPG Elite. Now understand, when we go through these videos, this is an RPG Elite philosophy, mindset, outlook, whole nine, okay? And I'm reading on my phone, by the way. So if you see me look down a couple times, just kind of, I'm looking at the notes or whatever, because I want to get this right, because this one is important. This is very, very important. So let's do the first thing, which is let's define role-playing. Now, in one video that I had, I used a dictionary, and it was role-playing versus role-playing. And people had a problem with me using a dictionary. And so for this video, I'm going to use a dictionary. That's because, you know, some of the arguments was that, oh, well, language changes. Yeah, language does change, but the words that we're going over, their definition have not changed since their inception into the English language. So it's a straw man argument, non sequitur. It's apples and oranges here, okay? So the words that we are talking about, and the one word we're talking about today, or depending on how you write it, 2 words, is role playing. And that is what we're going to define. And it's actually a compound of 2 words, role and playing. Oh, by the way, dictionary that I'm using, right? Because somebody also brought up, the dictionaries are politicized today. I'm going to give you that one. That's true. So this is what I did. I pulled out my handy dandy 1956 Webster's Dictionary. Now, to some degree, there's going to be a little bit of politicization, with any dictionary that you have, depending on the times, right? But since I pulled it from then, and we know what was going on back then, a lot of communism and all the rest of that stuff, I think we're safe with the words that we are talking about here to use a dictionary. I don't think that we have to be afraid to use a dictionary, and let's go ahead and let's just get simple definitions here. But I got something else that I'm going to add to that as well. So the definition of role, well, let's get into it. It is a part or character represented by an actor. I don't think anybody who knows anything about the English language and anything about that word is going to go, no. And if they do, you just ignore them, put them on mute, delete it or anything, anything. Because these are just people trying to troll and we can just move on without them. So role, taking on a role of something, is acting. There's some acting involved here. Okay. All right. Let's go to the second part of the word, playing. Any exercise or series of actions intended for pleasure, amusement, or diversion. Now, I don't think there's anyone who's going to say, no, that's, I've got an argument against that, man. I don't think that's what playing is. Anybody who who's thinking correctly or thinking at all. There's no argument here. We're going to say that playing is something you doing it to have fun. You're doing it for a pleasurable experience. How we say it here on RPG Elite, more immersive and enjoyable experience. That's what we're looking for here. Okay, so role playing is acting and having fun while you're doing it, enjoying the acting part of it. That's role playing. If we're looking at a definition from the dictionary. But let's see what other role-playing games have to say about this. See, I'll expand on this a little bit. We want to be on the same page with this word because this word is key when we're dealing with this particular quality. So let's see what the game Adventure. Remember that game? Some of you guys remember. Some of you guys don't even know it, but now you do. Let's see what Adventure has to say about role-playing. The players, that's you, assume the roles of central characters in an ongoing story. That is another thing we'll talk about later. It's much like mixing improvisational theater with cops and robbers. The make-believe you played as a child, imagining, keyword right there, yourself as a knight in shining armor or a brightly clad superhero was role-playing. Adventure is simply a more sophisticated version of those childhood games. I think that is a great definition because one of the things, like I said, one of the key words there is imagination. I want you to kind of stick a pin in that word. It's going to come up again, and we're going to come back to it again. Let's go to see what another role-playing game has to say about role-playing, though, right? I mean, I don't want people to, trip out because I'm using the dictionary only or something like that. Let's see what has been said. Let's go to a classic RPG, which we will be covering on this channel, Alternity. Let's see what Alternity has to say. First edition, by the way. It says this: in a role-playing game, every player takes on the role or acts, underline that, of an imaginary character. There, that word is, again, imaginary. These characters are the heroes of the story. There's that word again. The group is collectively going to tell. So again, we have imagination, we have story, we have acting. I'm going to give you one more. See, I like to be thorough on this stuff. Yeah, people like to poke, you like to poke at you. Oh, no, it's this, it's this. So let's just get it all out there. All right. DC Heroes, first edition, classic RPG. Let's see what they have to say about role-playing. A role-playing game lets you play a role. Okay, so they're defining it by going backwards. That's it's not exactly how you're supposed to define something, but that's okay. So, but here it is, like an actor does on a stage. Ooh, well, there it is right there. And there is that word again, act. Each person may play the role of one hero. All right. Well, I think it's pretty much well defined here. What is role playing? Well, it is acting as an imaginary character and working out their personality and doing this for a diversion or for fun or for pleasure or for enjoyment. That's the kind of game that we play, role playing. Now we have to go a little bit deeper here. When it comes to role playing itself and what it is in a tabletop role playing game, I look at it as having two levels. Let's look at the lower level first. I call it structured. This is where you decide the actions of your character and you carry out those actions through game mechanics. That's what's called the lower level of role-playing. It is a type of role-playing, but it's the lower level of role-playing in a tabletop RPG. You have to understand context here when it comes to an overall understanding of role-playing in a tabletop RPG. But there's a higher level, and it's the main level of role-playing. It's called the dramatic. And here, you're acting out the personality of your character, what they like, what they dislike, their quirks, their demeanor, the vocal inflections. Now, this is speaking positionally, not qualitatively. We have a foundation that keeps things together. That's the lower level. And then you have the higher level, which gives it vibrancy, life. And if you're only doing low level RP, and that's it, then this is what is called boring. This is what is called lifeless. There's nothing here. If you want to do that, you might as well just go and play Life, or maybe Monopoly or something like that. It's just like playing a board game. What, you make a character for what reason? Oh, so you can go and you look at some numbers and you can reference the numbers, but just keep going and rolling some dice and that's it. You could do that in a board game. As a matter of fact, there are kind of RPG board games that do just that. So why would you be playing a tabletop RPG for that? You can just go and get that board game, do your thing, roll on with it. That's what happens when you have only the low level of role-playing, only the structured role-playing. Let me give you an example of what happens when you have only low-level RP. I was sitting in on this One Ring campaign. This is years ago, right? I'm sitting in because I wanted to actually play. I was like, man, I like this game. I like the mechanics. I want to play as a player. So I found somebody on the Discord channel and he was like, yeah, we're sitting in, you can sit in for this guy's character. He's not going to be there. And I was like, great, I'll do that. Let's do it. So session comes around. I get into the game and I'm playing a hobbit. All right, cool. I know how I want to play this dude, right? So I'm asking how this guy played his character or whatever. And they're saying, hey, he didn't play his character anyway. It's brand new. So you can go ahead and play it however you want. I was like, hey, sweet, fine. So I got me some freedom. I'm about to do my thing, chicken wing. Nah, man. So I get in, we start playing, right? And we're in some cave and we're fighting some vampire. Now, this character is like just been fresh rolled up and somehow they're fighting vampires. The other characters have already been going for a while and they've got 5-star skills, 6-star skills, if you know what that means in the One Ring. So they've got some high skills, okay? So I'm thinking, well, I'll do what I can, but, let me just go ahead and do some role playing. So I start role playing my character when it comes to me and everything. The first time I do it, they laugh a little bit. I hear some chuckles. They're like, because I'm playing a hobbit. I'm like, make it a little comical. So the next time, and every time after that, because I pretty much like to stay in character unless I have to ask a question or if it's a mechanics thing that we need to discuss or whatever. But, I played the game, so I know how to play it. I run the game. So I'm just role playing, right? You know what I get? After the first initial chuckle, I get silence. It was almost as if they did not know what to do with this. And they're just rolling, boy. Just gone. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm just like, this is it? This is all we got here? That's it? Right? So that was it. And the GM was in on it. And I'm going, okay, right? So I cut it short, or he cut it short, but I think I cut it short. And I learned a valuable lesson that day. And that valuable lesson is this. I'm talking about me. I will refuse to play with anyone who refuses to role play in a role-playing game. I will not play with them. Now I'm saying this as me, as an RPG elite. This is how important it is to me. Other RPG elites might not put as much weight on it, even though they totally agree with the quality. But that is my stance on it. My personal stance is that if you are not willing to role play, and we're not talking about qualitatively here. I'm not talking about that you're a great role player. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about role playing, period. If you're not willing to role play, and this is why I like new players, because you don't have to break a whole bunch of bad habits of decades of not knowing how to role play and just role playing, right? So if you're not willing to role play, because I don't care about your quality, I just care about your effort. And if that's not there in a role-playing game and you're not even there for the effort, all right, well, do your thing. You can do your thing. I'm just not going to do it with you, right? I ain't got to go home, but I got to get up out of here is what I'm saying, okay? Because I refuse to play with those who will refuse to role play.